Hey everybody, Karyn Bryant here, and I am talking with Beneil Dariush, who is taking on Tony Ferguson at UFC 262. Beneil, I both love and hate this fight so much. I love it and I hate it at the same time. How you feeling about this matchup?
I'm feeling pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. I'm pretty excited about the whole thing.
Well, Tony is. I'm a huge Tony Ferguson fan. I should probably explain why this hurts me, and I love it. Like, the fan in me wants to see two of the best guys go for it. You know what I mean? And you guys are co-main event to the lightweight title being contested for. You guys are both incredible. There's so much to like about you that I hate that one of you will get canceled out. But at the same time, the geek in me loves this matchup. Can't wait for the scrambles. Can't wait for the like sheer madness of it all. So, is that what you're expecting? Like, do you prepare yourself for a fight like this, knowing it could just be 15 minutes of just madness?
That's what I prepare for. But the way I prepare for it is it's meat and potatoes, basics, basics, basics. Because I know though he's a wild guy. The best way to beat wildness is just fundamentals. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. Is just stick to my fundamentals, and they're gonna overcome eventually.
Yeah, isn't that interesting how that works, right? Because I even know, like in anything in life, when you feel like sometimes you're overwhelmed, if you just go back to the basics, that works. But does that mean you think there are holes in Tony's game? Do you think that means that the basics are things that you can use to exploit him?
Oh yeah, I think for sure he has holes in his game,
Yeah.
and then and the way he makes up for those holes is just toughness. And I think I could take advantage of that for sure. I think he definitely takes a lot of damage. I mean, just watch his fights. He's a madman.
Mhm.
But he takes a lot of damage in order to inflict damage. So I'm going to have to be able to give the damage without taking it. It can't be one for one. I have to make him, respect the pain.
Yeah. So, what was camp like preparing for him? Because we know down at Kings, you guys always go hard. But was there something different about preparing for Tony than you have for other opponents?
To be honest, it wasn't too different. I had Marvin, I had Giga, I had Arthur, I had all these guys that I normally train with, Mike Cohn and Miguel. Like, there's so many guys we have now to train with, top level guys,
Right.
and it was the usual. Fabricio was there, Danilo. Like, I'm just trying to think of all the guys. I can't even name them. There's so many.
Yeah.
So getting rounds in with all these guys is, it's very encouraging. And at the same time, and I made sure not to miss any practices. No, I made all my sprints. I made all my practices. Nothing was left out in order to accomplish this mission.
Well, I mean, I would imagine that's the thing is, even if you look at Tony's fights, and even if you think you see holes or whatever, at the same time you're seeing like a wild man in there who's incredibly effective as well, though, right? Because he was on this long tear. So even though Tony has hit a little bump in the road here, this is an incredibly dangerous man, and I don't think you ever took him any less than that.
Correct. I mean, I've looked at Tony as number one or number two best lightweights of all time. That's how I look at him. So that's how I'm going into this. Obviously, I think Habib is number one, but you can make a case for Tony being number one, and I think Tony comes in number two. With that being said, so I'm going in there fighting one of the best lightweights of all time. That's how I look at it. And I'm going in there trying to look for the best Tony Ferguson. So, in my opinion, his fights with Rafael dos Anjos, his fights with Kevin Lee, I was there. I fought the same night when he fought Rafa, and I was shocked he beat Rafa. Rafa is so good. I remember training with Rafa for that fight, and Rafa was doing so good with all the training. So, that made me respect him more. Anyways, with that said, I'm getting ready for that guy.
Nice. And that was in Mexico City too, right? They went 5 rounds in Mexico City, altitude, everything. That was insane. And I know, like you said, Rafael's amazing. So I know what you're saying there.
Yeah, I went 3 rounds in that
Three.
altitude. and I thought my heart was gonna explode. So they did 5 rounds, and they made it look easy.
Well, Beneil, it's so. There's a real part of me that. Obviously, I'm thrilled for you getting this opportunity. And to be honest with you, I love the idea that, granted, I don't want anything to happen to that main event, but I love that they put 4 lightweights in at the top there. And so the fact that you are literally and figuratively so close to a title shot is exciting for me. And at the same time, I feel like, dang it, the whole world caught on to my secret about Beneil being awesome.
Yeah.
Have you noticed a change though? Like there's documentaries being made about you now. There's all this stuff. It's like everybody kind of figured out that you're awesome.
It's nice to get the attention.
Yeah.
I just have to remember, like, hey, it's all nice and great, but remember the game. Remember your focus. Remember what I'm here to do. I have this God-given talent, and I want to make sure I use it for that exact purpose. It's to glorify God. So don't lose my focus, and just focus on doing the best that I can. And that's really it. I appreciate all the documentaries. I appreciate the people that come do the videos, because I understand our business can't run without it.
Right.
I can't. We can't have UFC and have the biggest show in the world if we're not doing the documentaries, if we're not getting all the views that we need, and the people aren't doing the interviews. And so I'm grateful for all of it. It used to be different. I used to be like, man, let me just fight. I'm just a fighter. I just need to fight. So let's just say a little bit more mature. Not a whole lot, but a little bit more mature.
A little more mature. Well, it's funny, and you bring up your faith. You are a man of great faith, which I definitely see as something as a benefit for you. And it's funny because I kind of put you, like you and Bilal, Ian Heinisch. There's a few of you that really stand out to me, who really don't shy away from showing your faith. Don't just really live it and love it. And I think that's a really positive thing that you put out to the world. And with that said, that also probably brings you another whole system of support, right? That like other fighters don't get. What's it like for you? Like when you are so faithful, like what do your church friends think of what you do for a living? What do, big picture, what do some of these people make of what you've chosen to do for a career?
Well, you say another system of support. My main support is relying on the Lord, like what He's giving me. Mm-hmm. And then obviously, like you said, there's my church. I go to an older church. There's a lot of older people at our church. Most of them were like, "Oh, you fight?" They just recently with Tony, with these bigger fights, they're like, "Is that you? Did you fight?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that's me." So they're like, "I thought you just made coffee." I was like, "No, I do more than just the coffee at church."
I love it.
It's really cool. It's really cool to have, and for them to support you and tell me, hey, we're praying for you. I have so many people messaging me right now saying that, and I'm grateful to every single one of them. I really am. Fight week, obviously, I'm not going to respond so well. I normally respond a little bit better, but I really appreciate all of them.
I love it. I think it's you do make coffee. It's so cute. You're good at it, right? That's a skill. Nothing wrong with that. Right. So what's the deal? Remember you mentioned when you were going to be getting married and your future father-in-law didn't love the idea of you being a fighter and was kind of maybe, when are you going to get a real job and that kind of stuff? Yeah. Okay. So has any of that changed?
Yeah, they've come around. I mean, it's that was 3 years, no, almost 4 years ago when they gave me that talk. They're like, hey, when I asked to marry their daughter, they basically said no. My mother-in-law and father-in-law, they said no. And I was like, okay, well, let's talk. So it took a long time, but we basically negotiated down to, if Victoria goes to school and graduates, we'll work with that. It wasn't going to happen. I was like, look, I'll take some classes if I have to, but I'm not quitting this thing. This is my job for the moment, at least.
Yeah. And I'm good at it, Pops.
Yeah, and now we're here, and I don't think it's really changed for them as far as their mind goes, because I think now they're more stressed. I think that the more they've gotten to know me, they love me, and they're just stressed. They're like, get another job. What can I do? I mean, man, California's not cheap. I'm trying to have a lot of babies. I don't think I can get any other job that's going to help me do that and have all that time for my babies.
Right, right. I love it. I love that you're doing what you're doing, and I think that I'm glad they're appreciative now. But in-laws, you're always going to have something, right? I mean, there's always going to be something.
Yeah, in-laws, my own parents, my whole family, everybody. My whole career has always been something, and then eventually they come to my side. I have this. I have this effect on people. Everybody's like, no, no, no at first. And then they're like, maybe. And then now they're all good with it.
Well, you've proven it with what you've actually done in the octagon. And you just you say you're going to do something, you do something. So, you back it up. So I would think they can at least, yes, respect that.
Exactly.
So question for you then. You mentioned, Marvin and Calvin, all the guys at the gym. Kings has always been a great gym, but do you guys feel as a unit, do you sense how things are really popping for you right now? Like how all of you guys are excelling and getting these high profile fights and it's just such a really cool thing to see so many of you rise at the same time. Do you have that feeling inside the gym?
There's definitely a special bond right now at the gym. I always feel this bond, but I always felt it. And now I get the sense that everybody else is also feeling it. The camaraderie that I've always felt, I'm starting to feel that everyone's feeling as well. Mm-hmm. And so I think it's elevating us. I think the confidence goes up from that, and you're seeing the results of it. But man, I think this is years of hard work to build this kind of relationship. It's a family style relationship, and I don't think it's built overnight.
I love it. And what is it? It's so funny to me to see. I don't mean funny, but I love seeing Marvin doing so well. But people crack up about how he goes from 0 to 60 so fast in terms of freaking out. So is he like that when you guys are training?
Angry Marvin is real. Don't get me wrong. But you know what? Also, calm Marvin is a real thing too, and it doesn't take long. He'll get angry, and then I'll be like, hey, bud, it's okay. Take a step back, and then he'll calm down. You'd be surprised how quickly he calms down, at least recently. So very happy with the progress that Marvin's making. Obviously, as a fighter, it's tremendous, and I think as a man, too, he's progressed quite a bit. So very happy with Marvin and his progress, and I can say the same thing with a lot of our other guys. And,
I love it.
It's awesome.
It is awesome. It is awesome. And it makes me just feel really good about what you guys are doing. And it's just been really fun to watch all of you along the way. So I have to ask you then, what you think will happen in the main event? Obviously, it's for the lightweight title with Charles Oliveira and Michael Chandler. What are you thinking is going to happen?
I'm leaning towards Charles.
Uh-huh.
I'm thinking he has so much experience inside the octagon and the UFC. I know Chandler and his history in Bellator. I understand that, and he has 5-round experience. Mm-hmm. So I get they both have similar styles of experience, but the UFC is a little bit different. Everybody that's come to the UFC has always said, "Oh man, I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't expecting that." Mm-hmm. UFC jitters. They always talk about the UFC jitters. So. And I think Chandler's had one fight so far.
Yeah, with Hooker. It was good.
It was a great fight. Dominant fight. Very quick. That's the thing. It was very quick. It was not a 5-round fight. So I think Charles needs to be patient, and he just needs to use his creativity. And then for Chandler, he, similar to me, has to be very meat and potatoes. Stick to the basics and go after Charles. But yeah, I'm just thinking Charles has more tools, and that's why I think he's going to win. But I could be wrong. I don't consider him a big favorite in my opinion. So who knows?
So who would you ideally? Let's say you beat Tony, and they say, "Okay, Beneil, you get the next title shot." Who would you rather fight, though? Would you rather fight Chandler or Oliveira?
It makes no difference.
No?
We can do them both at the same night. I honestly don't care. At this point, I just want to fight. I'm enjoying this journey of mine so much right now. It's such a good place. It almost scares me. I'm like, I'm not that nervous. I want to be a little bit more nervous. Like, I want to have nerves, you know. Tony's a great fighter, but shouldn't I be a little bit more nervous? Like, I'll be sitting and I'll be like, man, I'm not nervous. And then I think about these other guys, and I don't get nervous. All I can think about is like, let's just get to the fight. Like, I'm tired of the weight cut. I just want to enjoy myself. Those 15 minutes. They're selfish in a lot of ways because my family didn't want me to fight. You know, my friends, everybody who's worried about my health. But for those 15 minutes, those 15 selfish minutes, I get to be a part of myself that I never am. And I don't get to do that on a regular basis. I don't just get to be that guy where I don't care if I get cut. I don't care if I break a bone. I don't care if you hit me hard or whatever. I just get to enjoy myself. And I have so much joy in that octagon, especially that last fight. I wish I could repeat that last fight multiple times.
Gosh, that's such a great expression of what you do. That really, and maybe that's also why we vicariously, live through you. Like it is so free and primal and raw, and I mean, it's literally the essence of you, who in a lot of ways in there, like there's no BS, there's no nothing. Like it's just
it's the part of me that I get to express that I don't normally get to express. And the earliest memory I have of my dad, and I tell this lately a lot because I just realized it. It's the earliest memory I have. I think I got beat up by some kids. I must have been like 3 years old, and I went to my dad for comfort, and he said, "You got beat up? Should have picked up a rock. Should have picked up a stick, something like that." He didn't terrible advice. Don't get me wrong, terrible advice. But looking back at it, I remember as a kid thinking, he's right. Great advice. Great idea. I would never give that to my kids. I would never give that advice to my kids. But that's what my dad told me then. And a part of me just clicked right there. That became who I was. For as long as I remember, I would get in fights all the time, and I had only one goal, is to win. Yeah. And so you don't get to do that in society. Right. You don't get to carry that into a regular life. But for those 15 minutes, I do. I can be, man, I can go out there and I can just leave it all out there. And it's kill or die. I go out there, I come back with a victory. I come back on my shield, and I'm perfectly fine with it.
I love it. I mean, and it's funny because people ask me why, when I first started working in this too, like, why do you do this? And and literally what you just explained was exactly what I was trying to explain to them. Like, you don't know, like, it's just incredible. I know they, joke as real as it gets or whatever, but there are so many levels about it that I really do get into. And it is like in the personal bests and the personal challenges and the there's just so much going on. That it really is fascinating. What changed? Did something change because you had a loss, a draw, and a loss, and then you've been on this tear? So did something click? You talk about not being nervous, not being this, like, are you just totally in the zone now? Did something change?
I think, I always tell people, like, physical therapy was one thing that really helped me. I was dealing with a lot of things that I didn't even realize I had. Like, I had a lot of things. I just thought I was getting older, and that's how your body's supposed to react. That was one thing. But another thing I realized about it too recently is sometimes God puts you through the desert to starve your flesh away, the extra that you don't need, the things that just make you a little bit, overconfident, make you lazy, make you pompous. It has to take all that away. And I think I had to spend a good 2 years in that desert just to get all those things taken away from me so I can be a better version of myself. And that's what you're seeing today. And maybe I go through a similar experience in the future, and that's fine. I'll deal with it then. Nice.
I love it. Well, so ideally then, if you beat Tony on the microphone, will you then say, give me that title shot? I mean, a lot of us feel like this is the eliminator. And like we said, since they put you guys all on the same card, it is sort of with the implication that if anything happened, you guys would be elevated there. So,
after I beat Tony, The only thing I'm thinking about is my daughter, who's going to be here next month.
Yeah.
So that's all I'm thinking about. I've already mentioned it to Ali. I don't know if he's told the UFC, but
Yeah.
I'm going to take some time off. I can come back end of the year or beginning of the next year. That's the game plan. So it'll still be 3 fights here, but man, I'm not thinking about. I don't care who has the belt. I don't care who's fighting who. They can do whatever they want. But when my time comes, no one's going to stop me. So for the time being, my daughter has my full attention.
Nice. I feel you on that one. And having Mother's Day just the other day, and I've got a daughter, my sweet pea, and yeah, you only have your first child once in your life, right, Beneil? So enjoy every second of it.
Exactly. By the way, happy Mother's Day.
Thank you. Yeah, I got a real sweetheart. She's a good kid. Well, listen, I always love talking with you. I think it's it's been a real treat watching you evolve and just come into your own. And like I said, there's a real part of me that's so thrilled that the world knows about you. But there's a real part of me too that's like, everybody figured out how awesome Beneil is. Dang it.
It's okay.
But it's great.
One thing I will say, people are forgetful, so maybe they'll forget me eventually.
Nah, I don't think so.
It is what it is. I'm not too worried about it.
Nice. Well, best of luck to you. I expect a great fight from you as always, and congratulations on your impending fatherhood.
Thank you. I appreciate you so much.
Thanks, Beneil.